Okay, what I missed?
So
I come in right to a fart.
So Mephiles is basically telling Silver that
Lies.
But that's impossible.
that someone is responsible for Iblis coming into the world. That person is the Iblis Trigger, and he's gonna send Silver back in time to kill the Iblis Trigger so that Iblis never appears in the first place, thus preventing the evil future.
You must eliminate the individual who has awakened Iblis.
But
Iblis Trigger.
Mephiles is obviously a bad guy. It reminds me a lot of Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep. I don't know how much of that you've played, Alonzo.
More like Kingdom Farts, am I right?
Where, like, the plot of Terra's campaign in Birth by Sleep is that Terra... There's this evil bad guy who looks like Satan named Master Xehanort. And he keeps manipulating Terra into doing things that further his plan. Because he wants Terra to fall to darkness so he can steal his body and be reborn.
You have this person to blame.
But Terra trusts him even though he looks like Satan. He looks evil. And that's basically what's happening here, is Mephiles looks like a demon, and he has like those creepy eyes and no mouth, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you're totally trustworthy. I'll kill this random guy you told me to kill." And Blaze apparently has no qualms with it either. And also, Blaze shouldn't be here. She's supposed to be from an alternate dimension, which was established in Sonic Rush, a game that came out the year before this one.
Who are Silver and Blaze's parents? Are there other animals that exist?
Apparently. I want to say in Shadow's campaign, in that cutscene where they're on the computer monitor for 20 minutes, Shadow says that, or Rouge says that they're approximately 200 years in the future from this time point. So apparently hedgehogs and cats survived that long.
Blaze?
As they would.
Yeah. And also we have another... Somehow they got separated even though they went through the same portal
I guess we
not
all
that
got
long.
separated.
It's like that episode of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2012 where Mikey goes through the portal to Dimension X like 10 seconds before the other three turtles and ends up staying there for 10 months. Ethan, could you improve your commentary a little bit?
I'm listening to you guys talk for a while because I have a tendency of sitting there and just chatting forever and
I made the mistake
hijacking the whole thing.
I made the mistake of putting a
You're
bunch
hijacking it without even talking now.
Well, the audience doesn't know that. The paying customers don't know that.
Yeah, they can't hear you playing farts through the soundboard on Discord while I'm trying to explain the plot of Silver's campaign.
Every time you finish a sentence, I play a fart sound.
Alright. But the big problem with Silver is that he's really slow. Yes, very, very nice.
Physically and mentally.
Rib roast, I think I just saw some at the butcher. Iblis Trigger.
Look at that dude. So why do their mouths just go like blah, 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 blah? Why do they do that?
Because it was easier
to make it look.
It means that they could
give it was easier to give them the anime lip sync.
Yeah.
This game was made within like 6 months.
So now that I'm watching like some old, because first of all we were talking about anime earlier.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it in like 5 years. I haven't been watching any. And then lately I'm like, I wonder why I haven't been watching any. Maybe it's because I'm sick of kind of like the modern tropes. So I wanted to go back and watch something. I wanted to watch something really old because, like, I realized that I think the older art style, I like preferred that because, like, when I started watching anime, I was watching a bunch of mid-90s stuff, you know, and you know, anime nowadays does not look or play like the old stuff does, you know. So I'm like, let's go back around to I wanted to start like 35 years ago and watch kind of like the most popular ones from each season, just kind of see how it's progressed.
Yeah,
and it's just so funny to go back and look at how the tropes have evolved. because I'm watching something from 1989 right now.
Yeah.
That's something nowadays nobody knows about anymore. But it's also funny to see, like, why? How come when anime, when they speak, their mouths don't match what they're saying?
Yeah.
It's like back then. It's obviously a cost-cutting measure so that they could focus on
Localization was not spent very much.
Well, not even that. But like their mouths only flap open and closed in anime, and that's something that persists even nowadays. Even though they have exponentially larger budgets.
But they're also abusing their animators.
Fuck you, Michael.
No!
He almost got there.
The Dingle Trigger.
Yeah, but it's like, that's something that's stuck. But it's like, when I'm watching these old episodes, it's hilarious how little everything on the screen moves.
Yeah.
But then whenever there's a fight scene, it is animated so beautifully.
So you're saying
it is just so...
It's exactly like Family Guy, where it goes from like the regular scenes where they just stand in place and their mouth moves, to when Peter
they stand
fights
in place and they're always stand in post season 4. Like post season 4, they always are standing at a 3/4 angle, looking at each other, and they're always standing right next to each other. And the only thing that moves are their upper bodies and elbows.
Well,
Yeah,
I think with Ramna, the issue was that there was a studio change during one of the seasons, and when they got back into another season, they got the original studio that did 1 and 2 or something like that. So you'll see a difference in quality in Ranma because of the studio change.
They did. As far as I understand. No, the show was canceled and they reworked it into a new one, but it basically, I think I'm past that point already, and I didn't notice any difference in quality. I'm just saying it's cute to point out like the animation quirks and the shortcuts that now that I'm old enough to tell, like, oh, when I was young, I never would have noticed that they happen to be casually covering their mouth at this point so that they can have a 1 minute long scene of them talking without anything on the screen moving. Whereas if I was a kid, I would have noticed that instantly, or I would have never noticed that. And be like, oh, they're having a conversation. Now I'm like, oh, this conversation's here so they can save money.
Yep.
Thank you for moving the mouse, Michael.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I didn't notice it.
Shut up. Can Silver move any frickin' slower? Jeez.
And that is one of the things that they fix in Project 06. If you walk for a while, he eventually starts floating and moves a lot faster.
Project 06.
That's like, what purpose is there for this section to be so huge?
6 months of development time.
It's another problem with this game reusing all of its content for every character, is that we gotta use all 3 hub worlds for all characters, even though this was clearly not built for Silver's speed in mind.
Yeah, it was made for Sanaku, who could make it from one side to the other in about 10 minutes versus 3 hours.
Yeah.
And why is Silver so frickin' slow?
Because he's psychic. Psychic people are slow. It's like Pokemon, you know,
mind over body.
I don't know if you guys have ever played Mass Effect 2, but there are these enemies in Mass Effect 2 that say, mind over matter! Constantly.
Yeah, I'll never have the time to play a long
Mass
game
Effect 2.
ever again.
What happened? Which enemies are those ones?
I don't know, I've never played Mass Effect 2. The only reason
I wanted to, but I tried to play Mass Effect 1 first, and I was not having any of it.
Story-wise, Mass Effect 1 definitely was the best out of the 3. 2 had the gameplay and kind of like thing going on, but it suffers.
From what I've been able to tell, everybody loves Mass Effect 2.
Yeah, no, everybody loves it. The story-wise, I mean, from the issue with 2 is that it gets everything right, but the problem is it's the filler. It's the second. There's no end game really shown or anything. It's just a side adventure. The Mass Effect 2 could be cut out, and the main progress of the story doesn't really progress as much. Because it's like this side faction they're dealing with, and then 3 is, okay, now we're going to deal with the Reapers. While 1 is introducing the Reapers, and the Reapers are this cool omnipotent or like enemy that like, oh god, and then they turn out to be losers in 3, not as cool as they could be. They kind of lose their edge as well in 2.
Remember when they ripped that off for Star Trek Picard?
Looks like I can use it.
Except it was a giant space octopus coming out of an interdimensional asshole.
Oh god. Why would you watch Picard?
I didn't. I just watched Red Letter Media talk about it.
Okay, yeah, that's where I get it. Yeah.
Is Picard really bad or what?
Oh, yeah.
The first 2 seasons were written by Akiva Goldsman, Alex Kurtzman, and some other asshole. And it was written by the same people who did the film reboots, the Star Trek 09, Star Trek Into Darkness from 2012. The third Star Trek film, Star Trek Beyond, was written by Simon Pegg and directed by some James Wan or James Lin or something. Some guy behind Fast and Furious, and it was actually a lot better than the shit. Basically, the people who wrote the Amazing Spider-Man movies wrote the first 2 seasons of Picard and the first 2 reboot movies. Whereas Season 3 was written by a guy who worked on Star Trek Enterprise, Terry Vitalis. And it was like actually what Picard should have been from the beginning. It's basically a story about the next-gen crew reuniting to stop the have teamed up with the is basically the premise. So it's kind of like, and Tuvok shows up, and 7 of 9 is there, so it's kind of like a big celebration of the 80s and 90s era Star Trek TV shows. That's what Season 3 is. So, I will be watching Season 3, I will not be watching Seasons 1 and 2. Because Season 2, they travel back in time to 2024 so that the writers can make really bad commentary about basically our modern day.
Modern day suck.
It sure is. How does it find a way to keep getting worse and worse?
Capitalism.
No! Fick Bingus! Dingus balls!
Another show from my list. Have anybody seen Dr. Stone at all?
No. If
it's pretty fun. It's kind of it's a little.
If it's anything from within the last 5 years, it is a definite no for me. Because the only 2 that I really have watched in the last 5 years were Comey Can't Communicate.
Well, that was a fun one.
Which I only watched 8 episodes, I think. Oh. And the first season of Demon Slayer.
That's AKA the best anime of all time, according to some poll.
Yeah, Demon Slayer it's beautifully animated. The story, I mean, like it's shown into like it's simply written. It gets the plot. Later on with he just kind of like inherits the abilities at times rather than the usual shonen. You work towards it. It kind of it falls off for me. That's why I like JJK a lot more.
I just like emotional shit, man. I like the first scene when Nezuko is crying because she doesn't want to eat her brother.
Right.
I like that. I like stuff like that. That's my favorite.
JJK's pretty good.
That's something that old school anime definitely does not have. Is any emotion like that?
Because they were all.
If you're watching like a Gundam, the original Zeta, I think a lot of those ones they'll go a lot deeper into it. I think Turn A Gundam.
Isn't the original Gundam from like 1970s?
Yeah. Well, no. It's like 1980. Let me check before I get another wrong.
Michael, real quick, can you replay that last robot flying away? I think that one was especially spinning quickly.
Sure.
He was like flying away like a fidget spinner, and he smashed down to the nothing and died.
First episode 1979. So yeah, it's like 70s, late 70s, early 80s.
The only Gundam show I've ever seen is Robotics Notes.
Oh my god, why would you say something like that, Mikey? I remember my brother, he's a big slice of life person, and he was watching that, and I asked him, hey, how was it? He's like, fucking, I hate it. It was so bad. Robotics notes.
I like slice of life stuff too. Like
No. Yeah, but it's a bad slice of life. Robotics notes.
Oh, I don't know what that is.
Oh, there's a fucking surprise.
Mikey knows.
Look, just because the older sister was possessed by the digital ghost of an incel who had made 3 holographic waifus, and they needed to build a giant robot to stop them, doesn't mean it was a bad show.
What show is this?
Robotics notes.
Explain the plot badly.
Fuck you.
Oh yeah, other Gundam. What was it? Witch of Mercury was pretty fun. Also,
I've never watched any Gundam. I feel like that's a rabbit hole that I would struggle to get into, just because I've never really watched much mech stuff before, besides Neon Genesis, which I've been rewatching.
Yeah.
Gurren Lagann, that's fun.
So damn. Yeah, Gurren Lagann's okay. I haven't been able to put my finger on why I like certain shows and why I don't. I guess it's just certain things resonate with me and others don't. You know, like you can just like something and not like something else, and
oh yeah, it's all feel.
You don't necessarily have to come up with a description as to why you don't feel that way. But lately, I've been trying to do that. You know, like trying to come up with rules as to what sort of media I like.
Oh,
Yeah.
like for me, as I was explaining before, like for me, a lot of the shows that really get me are good world building.
Yeah.
If there's a world behind it that's kind of like really the story is building up, that kind of really grabs me. So that's like
no wonder you absolutely love Fire Emblem.
Oh yeah. Oh,
every time there's a new Fire Emblem game, it absorbs your life for 3 months, and that's all
so
you
that's
talk
on my
about.
list. A year has passed, and Fire Emblem Engage came out, and Engage.
Oh yeah, I never played it.
Great game. It's probably gameplay wise probably one of the better Fire Emblems that came out in a while. Story, it sucks. Oh my god, it's so simple, but it's like it's definitely a game you don't go to for the story. It's not Three Houses' story. And
how about Three Houses? Is Three Houses fantastic, or is it not?
Three Houses' story is great. The gameplay, it's very
basic.
It's good at the first couple, but then because I guess they were transitioning from the 3DS to the Switch, the map design is not good comparably to Engage.
Three Houses is the only one I've ever played, and I never even beat it.
I love Three Houses. It's probably one of my favorites.
I hope
I put in 500
I could probably
hours.
go back.
He's pretty insecure
Yeah,
when he's
I
alone.
could never. I should probably go back and finish at least the
Dingle Trigger.
Edelgard campaign, because I got
Blue
real close to
Hedgehog.
finishing that one.
Yeah, she's the shorter one.
I think I was almost done with it.
She's the shortest campaign. My favorite is definitely Dimitri's, but Claude's my favorite out of the 3.
Yeah, fucking Claude. What kind of name is Claude?
Well, his real name.
If any of our subscribers are named Claude, you should unsubscribe.
Well, it's a cover name for him. His actual name is.
Shut up! You ruined it. Spoilers.
Oh, it doesn't get
Just kidding.
explained in Origin Three Houses. That gets in Three Hopes.
That's all right. I'm fine. I would never have time to play all 3 campaigns anyway.
Can it be true?
Yeah.
Like I said, I like my retro games because I can plug them in and beat them in 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, not if you're playing Fire Emblem Thracia 76 or
Makes me
something.
Makes
What
me
was it?
sad.
Fire Emblem 4. Why am I spacing out the name? Genealogy of the Holy War. That one is probably one of the bigger Fire Emblems because like the tiles, the map sizes in those are just massive. And it's on the Super Nintendo. They won't localize it, or it pisses me off. So I had to get the English translations online and everything and emulate that. But Thracia 76 and Genealogy of the Holy War are pretty fun. They're Super Nintendo, so maybe you'd play them.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, I know. Those ones are super hard to get into.